Hi everyone. Right, so this is for the parents, and this is where we're going to pull together the story of Little Red Riding Hood and Goldilocks and the Three Bears into a bit of an extension for the older children. For the younger children, this might not make any sense, so don't worry about it. This is really something that we do with the older ones, particularly the children who would be heading off to school in September. And what we do is we set ourselves up as a police crime investigation unit for the whole week, and we have different things running all week. So, if you're looking to sort of do some of this, if you Google at home, you'll be able to find some nice pictures and things on the internet that can supplement what you're doing. So we start off by telling the stories. Very often we tell them the week before, and then when they come in, we have an evidence table. And on the evidence table, we often have things like false teeth, Grandma's false teeth, fur, Mr. Wolf's fur. We have our wig that people might wear if they were disguised, etc. And we make lots of labels for things. So we have these labels. We have magnifying glasses. We have little pads to make fingerprints. But when you're making fingerprints, you don't have to use paint. If you've not got any paint, you can use things like cooking oil. If they press their finger into cooking oil or into face cream and then press it onto a bit of paper, it will leave quite a nice print. So as I say, we have our clues table where we have prints like we looked at earlier, and we'll have the 3 bowls and spoons, and then I've got proper crime tape, but you could make crime tape out of bits of paper or newspaper or anything that you've got lying around if you wanted, just to make it look a bit more official. Normally we have police hats. I haven't got a police hat at home, and I couldn't seem to find anything to make one, but you could just make a black and white band around be a police officer. And then we have, so we do this is my police report. So it's report of a recent burglary at the Three Bears house. Suspect ran away, and the evidence is the empty bowl and the broken chair. And then we also have a ransom note. So this is my ransom note that I did. And it says, and this is a rebus. Those of you with the older children who've been using the rebus books. And rebus is where you have a picture instead of a word. So as you read, they can read the picture. This one says, I have kidnapped, and it's a picture of Granny. To get her back, you must give me lots of, as a bowl of porridge and some new bows and a dress to match my shoes. Find them and you will get Granny back. Signed, and it's signed Wolf. And there's fingerprints all over it, and on the back there's a footprint, but they don't look like Wolf's fingerprints or paw prints. And I'm not sure that the big bad wolf would want bows and pretty dresses. Not sure. I'm not sure who is responsible for this crime, but it might be that it wasn't the wolf who kidnapped Grandma, but we'll have to investigate. And what we do here sometimes as well is we might hide bows around the hall for the children to find and to count, so that they're doing their investigating. And we've got 3 suspects, and our suspects are the big bad wolf, Goldilocks. Normally I use a dolly for that. I haven't got a dolly at home, and a piggy as well. And there are suspects, and this is their height chart, so you can see who's the biggest. Obviously the big bad wolf is the biggest, that's why he is the big bad wolf. Then there's Goldilocks, and this is obviously one of the little pigs because he's little. So these all tie into fairy stories. And then we've also got some paw prints, so you can tell the difference between, so this is a coyote, this is a dog, and this is a wolf, and they've all got slightly different paw prints. And so we make some grids, and we get the children to press their fingers into the different boxes, so a different finger and a thumb in each of the boxes. And then we also, sometimes we get them to do their fingerprints on little sticky tabs like this, which you can stick onto the wall. This one's lost, oh, and it has got it sticky there still. And what we do is we make a board, so you could use a wall or a fence or something like that, and we make a crime scene board like they'd have at a police station, and we get them to, with their clipboards, to write, and that you can see this is special writing. Special writing, and this was where somebody said that they'd found wolf's footprints, and this person thinks he's from Scotland. I don't know why they thought the wolf might come from Scotland, but maybe they'd seen some wolves at a zoo or a park in Scotland, I don't know. But you can see this writing. This is very important that your children are allowed to make without pressure being put on them to make shapes and letters or numbers in a particular way, because what matters is that they're confident to make the marks and that they can tell you what the marks mean. Okay, and so that is very, very important. And what we do is we normally have a big board, and again this has got a bit of tape on the top, and we hang it on our evidence board for everyone to see. Some more evidence here. We've got a wolf footprint. This is fur for them to feel. So we go hunting for evidence, and we make wanted posters. So we draw who we think the bad person is in there, and then we ask them how much the reward is for that. So if we find them, give them some money, that's good. And then we also use lots of words. Children should be learning lots of new words. So we make signs for the words that we're using. So this is like witnesses, etc. So you as a grown-up write lots of labels for it, and this is book writing as opposed to this, which is special writing. Special writing, book writing. When they use their special writing, you ask them what it says and say, shall I write that in book writing? And you write alongside, so they get to see you writing. Because if they never see you write, why do they think it's important to learn to write? If they never see you read a book or signs, why should they think it's important to learn to read? They will think it's just something that grown-ups make children do. If they don't see grown-ups do it, they think this is work for children. If they see you doing it, they will think that it's something that's for grown-ups as well, and that will encourage them to do it. And it's like speaking. If you never talk to your children, never converse with them, why would they think that that's important enough to do. They won't. So if you're always got your face down on your phone, they're not seeing you writing, they're not seeing you reading, why would they want to do those things when they go to school? So it's very important that they see you doing those things as well, that they don't think that what they're doing is work. It's got to be fun, they've got to see you doing it, and it's got to have a purpose. So what we also do is we find lots of different stories to do with wolves and bears and things like that. And some of these stories have a different twist because sometimes small children will always blame one person when something's done, and often it's not them. So sometimes something will happen and we'll say, "Who broke that?" And they'll say, "Oh, it was Oscar." And we'll say, "It wasn't Oscar because Oscar isn't here today." These stories, the purpose of this is to talk about telling the truth, finding clues, and also talking about people like policemen being superheroes as well. So we do all this all over the week. We build it all together, and then at the end of the week, it becomes clear that the big bad wolf was in fact framed by Goldilocks. Goldilocks disguised herself as the big bad wolf and kidnapped Grandma and held her to ransom because she wanted some new bows for her hair. And that's not okay, all right? And so that's the purpose of what we're doing. So it's going to have fun. It's going to encourage your children to mark make, encourage your children to think, and for you to interact with your children as well. And think about when you read stories to your children, also the message that that's giving to them. Because sometimes in books and stories, we give hidden messages about who's good, who's bad, who's doing what. And as grown-ups as well, sometimes we need to think about the message that we're giving children, about how to behave and what we need to do. But it's usually a really fun week. And at the end of the week, I normally present them all with a little certificate to say that they've been very good police officers and that they've done a really good job. And I sort of shake their hands and present them with their certificates, which they can take and put on their wall. So you don't have to do any of these things. I know how hard this is. So you don't have to do these things, but it is something that we normally do round about this time of year. The children have great fun doing it, and you can be creative. And as I say, if you have a Google, you will find that there's lots of things, lots of ideas that you might be able to do at home. All right, take care. Bye.